this place was going to go dark at 8:30. It is 9:05 now, and it didn't. Again, nobody seems to know what they're talking about, but since it hasn't gone yet, like I said, we're riding until the wheels fall off, whenever that may be. So since it's not gone yet, I've got at least one more Wyll take for you, because I know that y'all love my Wyll Ravengard takes. I was just talking about this with some friends. We were talking about how a lot of the companions actually, I feel like, could have worked in other classes and maybe should have worked in other classes. When I'm playing, I'm making Astarion a ranger. He's still like one level of rogue, but I made him a ranger because I'm like, okay, rangers are very environmentally savvy. And Astarion is like canonically environmentally savvy. He had to be, because he was like sneaking around as a vampire and stuff like that. And he talks about how like he knows how to blend in with the shadows and is really good at like staying out of sight and stuff like that. Those are all things that like a ranger, especially like a Gloomstalker ranger or something like that, it would make sense. I said I think it makes sense for Lae'zel to be a paladin of Lakith. I think it makes sense for Karlach to be a fighter, like et cetera, et cetera. But then I had like a fucking epiphany. What if Wyll was an oathbreaker paladin? Now walk with me. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this. So imagine here's Wyll's story goes like this. Wyll Ravengard is the son of older Ravengard, the only son, and his dad is like the top cheese in Baldur's Gate. He is the head duke. He is the leader of the Flaming Fist. He's this like just your classic archetype of like the knight in shining armor. He is just like, everyone loves this guy. He is the most revered, powerful like lord in Baldur's Gate, or duke in Baldur's Gate. And you, his only son, Wyll, wants to be just like him. And he's like dedicated to protecting the city, and he thinks that, and his father is just like a god basically, and he wants more than anything to serve the city. So as soon as he comes of age, like as soon as he turns 17, when he's finally old enough to take his vows, let's say, he becomes an Oath of Devotion paladin, or maybe an Oath of Crown. You could go back and forth, but he would take an oath of some sort of devotion to Baldur's Gate and to protecting Baldur's Gate from any sort of influence, particularly like there could even be a specific clause of like, especially like infernal influence, like keep them safe from devils and make sure that no devil can run free in Baldur's Gate. So he's just taking his vows, and he is like, again, super into it. His dad goes off on his trip to Elturel, wherever it was that he went. That same part that setup happens where his dad goes on a trip. He is stuck in he's in Baldur's Gate. He's again watching the city while his dad's gone, and then the Tiamat thing happens, and then the Mizora thing happens. But instead of like taking a pact or whatever, let's just say that Zariel specifically sent Mizora over to make a deal with Wyll, because like maybe Zariel thought it would be funny to like make this person who just made an oath to like never to always kill devils has to work with a devil. So for whatever reason, Mizora still shows up, offers to help him, offers some kind of deal. It isn't a pact, because he's not a warlock in this world, but it is some sort of deal. And because he has made a deal with a devil, that breaks his oath. And so he becomes an oathbreaker. And then the whole story, his whole story, the whole thing that they were trying to do with his character, which is basically like this guy's a warlock, which is usually a bad guy, but he's really a good guy. But they didn't go far enough with it, I don't think. They didn't really do enough with that premise. Imagine if they make him an oathbreaker, and then basically all of the nuance that the Oathbreaker Knight brings, cut the Oathbreaker Knight. It's okay if he's just not in the game, let's be honest. We can take those parts of his story where there is a discussion about like when it is okay to break your oath, or when it is moral, or when it is the more moral choice to break your oath, whatever. Just put all that in Wyll's story. Because the groundwork is already there. Just put all of that nuance about oathbreakers into Wyll's story, and then his journey is all about that. And then as a player, like, you still get to interact with this guy who's like kind of mysterious. Like, let's say the first time that you do a fight and then Wyll shows up, Wyll, he raises the dead or does something cool with his necrotic powers or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, only Oathbreaker paladins can do that. That guy's an Oathbreaker. Aren't they usually bad? But then they get to know him or whatever. He joins the party. You find out, you both have worms or whatever, and then that's Will's big secret. Instead of his big secret being like, my dad's the Duke, which, womp womp. Like, especially if you don't already know a lot of Faerunian lore, the fact that his dad is older Ravengard means fuck all to you, so it's not that interesting of a secret. What if his big secret was that was why he broke his oath? Like, he is an Oathbreaker, but it was because that was the right thing to do. Like, I just imagine Imagine how much more meat we could put on that story.